How do I convince my 35M wife 35F to stop sleeping in every Saturday, Sunday? I 35M have a 3-year-old with my wife 35F of 5 years. We both work full-time and make about the same income. We split household chores and childcare during the week. Our days both start at 7:30 a.m. during the work week and end at 9:10 p.m. when our daughter goes to sleep. I go to bed by 11 p.m., but my wife stays up until 2-3 a.m. for me time. When we get to the weekend, our daughter wakes up at 7:30 a.m., but my wife will not get out of bed until 10 a.m. noon, Saturday and Sunday. By the time we finish breakfast, it's almost nap time and the morning is gone. It was worse before our daughter was born, when getting her out of the house before 1 p.m. was a battle. I used to work out, make breakfast, and run errands. With a toddler, I feel trapped in our small living room. I can't take our daughter anywhere further than 10 minutes. Wife gets really upset at missing out and expects us to come back when she wakes up. I feel like we're wasting her childhood in our living room waiting for mom to wake up. Going to a fair or zoo or aquarium or something is a lot of work by myself, and wife will be pissed she missed it. Talking about it has gotten nowhere. She expects praise for only sleeping in until 10. The responses I get are, it's the weekend, I shouldn't have to wake up early. We don't have concrete plans. Why rush? I'm tired from the week and need more sleep. I can't go to bed earlier. I haven't had enough me time and I'm not tired enough. I'm totally at a loss at this point. How can I get my wife to wake up when our daughter wakes up and help parent? TLDR. Wife insists on sleeping in every Saturday/Sunday until 10 a.m. noon. I have to solo parent our toddler on an unpredictable schedule since she wants us home when she wakes up.
My 27F, husband, 27M, not picking up the pregnancy test I requested might be my breaking point. What do you think? TLDR. I put a pregnancy test on the grocery list and my husband didn't buy it because he determined it wasn't necessary. Reality check. Is it obvious that a pregnancy test is an important and urgent grocery item? My husband is in charge of grocery shopping. Last time I put a pregnancy test on the list because I'm 7 days late. We just had our second in January, so it's unlikely, but I'm very anxious, in part because I had 2 preemies and would immediately want to consult with my OBGYN on how to keep this baby in as long as possible. He knows all this. Of course, I could run out and get a pregnancy test myself, but with a small baby and toddler, that's not too much fun. I'm inclined to ask my sister, 25F, to pick one up after work. She's our neighbor, but I'm dreading his reaction from past experience. I'm convinced he'll see it as me punishing him by involving my sister in something private to us. Also, in part, it's also about what it stands for me, another in a long list of instances where my and the kids' needs for care and consideration are not met. Especially because he didn't check back with me, calling me from the store or something, but just single-handedly determined that my peace of mind wasn't worth a few bucks and minutes of finding it. I'm assuming he's subconsciously avoiding the anxiety of a potential pregnancy and doesn't want to know, but it's just hard being dependent on someone to a certain extent when things like this happen. Am I expecting too much by not wanting to ask and explain myself several times for him to respond to my requests? What are your views on me feeling it would be way less emotionally taxing to set our lives up in a way where I depended on him as little as possible? Thank you so much. I, F29, am almost at my breaking point after my husband, M27, walked in a room and asked, "What have you been doing for the last 20 minutes?" while I've been working my ass off. How do I convey the severity of my feelings? Me, 29F, and my husband, 27 meters, have been married for 2 years and just had our first child, who is 11 weeks old. With a newborn, there's a lot more work to be done around the house than before, and I've had a difficult recovery from birth. We've gotten into a routine at night where he feeds the baby her last bottle and puts her to bed, because he's at work all day and doesn't get to spend time with her. Typically, while he does that, I start the dishes and clean up. Tonight, I decided to throw in a load of laundry, clean up our car, pick up the living room, and hand scrub a piece of clothing that had formula spilled all over it rather than starting the dishes. I consciously made this decision because my husband actually knows how to do the dishes, as opposed to a lot of the miscellaneous things that need to be done around the house that he's largely blind to. Husband came out after spending about 15 minutes feeding the baby and asked me what I had been doing for the past 20 minutes, once he saw the dishes hadn't been done. I flipped out because I'm exhausted and burnt out. He insists he asked because he was just curious and doesn't understand why I'm so angry. Am I overreacting? To me, the question does not seem innocent and makes me feel like he doesn't appreciate everything that I do. It also makes me feel like I don't have the space or allowance to relax if, God forbid, I needed a break, even though I was cleaning. He has asked me this question many times before, to the point where I'll have started making mental lists of things I accomplish in case he asks. Also, I am not a stay-at-home mom. I have a high-intensity and demanding job and am returning from maternity leave in a few weeks. I am almost at a breaking point. My husband used to treat me like a princess, especially when I was pregnant. Now I feel like he has no appreciation for me or how hard this has been. How do I convey the severity of this without it seeming like I'm making a huge deal out of a little comment? TLDR. My husband asked me what I've been doing for the past 20 minutes after I had been working my ass off, and it's almost got me to my breaking point.
My 26M GF26F won $30,000 and spent it all. How do we move forward? Hey everyone, looking for some advice on a situation with my girlfriend. We've been together for about 4 years and she recently won $30,000 at a casino. Originally, we talked about using the money for big future plans like a house down payment or a dream trip to Japan. But instead, she has spent it all on high-end personal items for herself, designer clothes, jewelry, a luxury car upgrade, and more. 2 years ago, the roles were reversed. She was jobless and dealing with health issues, and I covered all her living costs. I never expected anything in return and did it because I believed in supporting each other. However, seeing this large sum spent entirely on personal luxuries without considering our shared future has left me feeling disappointed and somewhat taken for granted. I'm struggling with how to address this with her without it blowing up into a major conflict. I want to communicate how this makes me feel and discuss how we view and handle finances as a couple moving forward. It's important to me that we both feel secure and aligned about our future. How should I bring this up? What's the best way to have a constructive conversation about expectations and financial responsibility in a relationship? Thanks for any guidance you can provide. TLDR. Girlfriend blew a windfall without consulting me. How do I convince my 35M wife 35F to stop sleeping in every Saturday, Sunday? I 35M have a 3-year-old with my wife 35F of 5 years. We both work full-time and make about the same income. We split household chores and childcare during the week. Our days both start at 7:30 a.m. during the work week and end at 9:10 p.m. when our daughter goes to sleep. I go to bed by 11 p.m., but my wife stays up until 2-3 a.m. for me time. When we get to the weekend, our daughter wakes up at 7:30 a.m., but my wife will not get out of bed until 10 a.m. noon, Saturday and Sunday. By the time we finish breakfast, it's almost nap time and the morning is gone. It was worse before our daughter was born, when getting her out of the house before 1 p.m. was a battle. I used to work out, make breakfast, and run errands. With a toddler, I feel trapped in our small living room. I can't take our daughter anywhere further than 10 minutes. Wife gets really upset at missing out and expects us to come back when she wakes up. I feel like we're wasting her childhood in our living room waiting for mom to wake up. Going to a fair or zoo or aquarium or something is a lot of work by myself, and wife will be pissed that she missed it. Talking about it has gotten nowhere. She expects praise for only sleeping in until 10. The responses I get are, "It's the weekend, I shouldn't have to wake up early. We don't have concrete plans, why rush? I'm tired from the week and need more sleep. I can't go to bed earlier. I haven't had enough me time and I'm not tired enough." I'm totally at a loss at this point. How can I get my wife to wake up when our daughter wakes up and help parent? TLDR. Wife insists on sleeping in every Saturday/Sunday until 10 a.m. noon. I have to solo parent our toddler on an unpredictable schedule since she wants us home when she wakes up.
My boyfriend, 33M, joked about me, 38F, being a pedophile at a dinner party because there is 5+ year age gap between us. I now have the ick. How do I salvage our relationship? My boyfriend of 3.5 years announced that I am a pedophile during a small house party. He claims it's an inside joke between us. It is not. I have no idea why he thought that telling people I'm a pedophile is okay or funny. For clarification, I am a 38F and my current boyfriend is a 33M named B. We have been together for 3.5 years. We had met a couple times prior because our families and friends roll in the same social circles, but I had been a serial monogamist for around a decade, and other than finding each other mutually attractive, nothing physical happened, no flirting, no exchange of phone numbers or kisses, absolutely nothing physically or verbally inappropriate. Keep in mind that both of us were legal adults when we first met. So, on to the night in question. He very loudly proclaimed to an amalgamation of friends, family, and strangers all sitting around a dinner table that I was a pedophile and that calling me a pedo is an inside joke between us. It is not. He brought this up because he drunkenly chose to talk about our relationship despite its complete lack of relevance to the topic at hand. To preface, there is an age gap between us, roughly 5 years and 8 months. We first met when he was 19 and I was 26. I was in a long-term, committed adult relationship with C, 22M, at the time. C was in college, I was working as a youth programs director, we cohabited and had been in a relationship for 2 years. C and I threw a house party. That is when I first met B. He was 19, loud, drunk, and I found him attractive and enthralling. We had a friendly conversation and nothing more. There was no flirting, no exchange of numbers, no physical interaction. I recall thinking he was cute and crazy, but that was it. Like I said, I was happily in a monogamous long-term relationship with C and didn't consider B as anything other than an interesting party guest. We ran into each other at random parties throughout the years, but once again, we never shared any inappropriate conversations, and our only physical interaction was maybe a "hello, good seeing you again" hug. A decade passed and COVID hit. I happened to be in my hometown after spending 5 years abroad, in which we were absolutely not in contact. We were both invited to a small gathering at a bar. Our friends and family social circles still ran in tandem for the most part. At the time, B was 30 and I was 36. I was single, so was he. Shots ensued, we hooked up. Within a month we decided to move in together. Within a year we moved to another city. Within the past year we have talked heavily about getting married. Now will be our 4-year anniversary, and we have both lovingly stared into each other's eyes and talked about having children and growing old together. In our years together we have talked about our respective pasts, and with an age gap, certain "oh god" moments have happened. For example, we will be talking about senior prom and how awkward, funny, stupid we were at 18, and he will pipe up and say, "Yeah, when you were a senior, I was in 7th grade." Or I will be telling a story about my first job working retail in college, and he will say, "So while you were going to frat parties, I was a freshman in high school." It's cringe but true, and when said in that context, it's not great, and my usual response is something to the effect of, "Ew, sweet Jesus, I don't want to think of it that way." Our age gap is not a problem for me. The majority of my long-term relationships have been with younger men. None of my previous partners made jokes about our age gaps. My relationship with B has been the largest gap. B is now 33 and I am 38. Our neighbors had some friends over for some Cinco de Mayo drinks, and when I got home from work, there were about 10 people hanging out in the backyard. I knew half of them, the other half were from out of town. I strike up conversation with them, normal shit like "how long are you in town for?" and "what do you do for work?" So here I am chatting with this woman I've known for a total of 2 years about the similarities in our upbringing playing competitive sports in high school and college, when B decides to loudly talk over us about how he and I first met. With the conversation redirected, all eyes on him, he recounts how we first met at a house party I threw. And I chime in that my first impression was that he was beautiful and terrifying and young and insane. But he was too young for me at the time. That's when he chose to call me a pedophile. He said that we joke all the time about how he was in elementary school while I was losing my virginity, and I'm such a pedo who's into young guys. Cue everyone's shocked faces, awkward laughter, but mostly crickets. I absolutely refute the statements he's making and try to reiterate to the silent table that we ran into each other only in social settings for around a decade before truly re-meeting after 5 or so years of no contact whatsoever, and we were both in our 30s when began dating. At this point, the collective tension has been eased, but holy fucking shit. If I was at a dinner party and some woman joked about her boyfriend being a pedophile, I would absolutely be alarmed, and most likely want nothing to do with either of them. Being a pedo is not an accusation you hurl out of nowhere, and it's insanely distasteful to joke about outside of the occasional "dude, you need to shave your mustache." It's giving me creepy pedo vibes. Outright calling your partner a pedophile in a room full of old friends and new acquaintances is just fucking childish and disturbing and insanely unnerving and gross. Like I'm having trouble thinking about him in any sexual context now because his words and actions are that of a teenage boy, and that's fucking gross. To me, BC I am a as woman who is not attracted to immature assatics or children. The party wrapped up pretty quick after that. I don't think I said goodbye to very many people. I pretty much fled out of shame and embarrassment. When I confronted B about it, he tried to blow it off, told me it was a joke and not a big deal. I tried to put it into perspective for him and asked how he would feel if at a social event I called him a pedo, then doubled down claiming it was an inside joke between us that he diddles kids. Well, that's not the same, he claimed. He then backed down a little and admitted it was weird and stupid, but when I kept pushing the conversation big, I was still upset. He fucking got aggressive and tried to DARVO me, which I shot down immediately. I told him to sleep in the guest room, and I went to bed. He tried to apologize, but when I rejected his apology, I'm clearly very fucking pissed off. He just got angry and tried to gaslight me, claiming we've joked about this before. We absolutely have not. I watch a lot of true crime. I am horrified by pedophilia. I worked with kids for several years. I would like to be a foster parent or adopt one day. All of these things B is aware of. We have had earnest and heartfelt conversations about doing our part to help children escape from abuse. I have seriously considered volunteering as a court liaison for children in the foster care system. And here is my partner telling people I'm a pedophile. He's several years younger than me. Like, what in the actual fuck? I feel disgusted and I really don't know what to do here. Is this even salvageable? I'm not so sure that I can spend my life with someone who thinks that a 5-year, 8-month age gap is worthy of making pedo jokes about me at a dinner party. Has anyone else dealt with this kind of behavior? How should I move forward with this relationship? Is there a way to move past this? I'm thinking couples therapy, but is it even worth it at this point? EDIT. People seem to keep getting distracted by my horrific math that is self-admittedly all over the place, so here ya go. Boyfriend is 33, I am 38. The age difference between us is 5 years, 3 months, 16.